Life out in the country was becoming more and more difficult as agriculture staggered from one depression to another. For those farmers left behind, the work got tougher and money was tight, which meant that the worst jobs in the countryside were left for those who came cheapest, mostly kids. Why were so many of the worst jobs in the countryside done by children?
Well, quite frankly, there was a lot of them. Large Victorian families and, of course, a readily available, cheap form of labour.
What kind of jobs would they have done?
Well, they'd have done any job, really, from any fetching, carrying, menial jobs, fetching water for pigs, wood for the fire, anything like that.
What are these two doing?
These are actually scaring crows, and there's an old adage, one for the rook, one for the crow, one to rot and one to grow.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that you sow enough seed that you're going to get a crop, and the one that is growing, you want to do your best to keep the birds off that. So by having your kids running around, keeping the birds away, hopefully you're going to have enough to harvest in the summer.
So they don't have to get rid of every one, as long as there are enough seeds and seedlings available to let the field flourish.
That's right, yeah. Keep the majority there and keep the birds off.
Well, this looks like a worse job for me. What's this?
Well, yes, this is dibbing, or dibbling. So we're going to take these dibbers, put them in the ground.
Why?
So, making little dents,
and
then you can sow the seeds in that little basket there. Put a few in each
What, like
hole.
sort of 9 or 10?
That'll do.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep going like that.
Yeah.
Until we sow nice even rows.
Oh, your back would go quickly doing too much of this, wouldn't it?
It certainly would.
Who would have done it?
Well, it would have been small holders, small little family farms, because this is a very cheap form of equipment, rather than expensive horse-drawn machinery, and because the whole family could get involved, children, wives, everyone, helping out sowing this crop. So it's nice even space apart, so you can get through when it's growing and actually hoe it and keep the weeds down.
Which is the dibbler, you or me?
Me.
Can I have a dibble?
I think so. Thank you.
Oh, I like being the dibbler.
You've got the easy job.
Yeah, it's better than sticking the seed in, isn't it? There's definitely a hierarchy in this job, isn't there?
Definitely. I think you're top dibber.
Yeah. Oh, I can go a bit quicker now, can't I?
Getting the routine going now, rhythm going now.
It's just a little bit monotonous, isn't it? My arms are starting to ache now.
My back is.
If you've ever complained about your job being boring, forget it. You have no idea. Try this one. Actually, I am hard at work here. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am a herring caller. My job is to sit here and watch. And when I see a flock of gulls flying low over the water, I know that there's a shoal of herring out there. So I shout out the word herring to the villagers, and they rush out of their houses and jump in their boats and go and catch them. But it can take quite a while. What are they collecting?
Well, they're actually collecting the stones off the field. The crop's been sown, it's winter wheat, so it stands about 2 or 3 inches above the actual stone now. And one thing with this land, it almost grows stone. They're actually getting them out off the soil to hopefully improve the soil and actually get the stones out of the way of the harvesting machines with moving blades, which are expensive machines. And so we're using a cheap form of labour here to actually get this potential hazard out of the way.
And what happens to the stones?
Well, they'll go off into the cart, and we can utilise those for making trackways and or pathways just around and about, and maybe even use them on the parish roads.
What was life like for these kids?
Well, it wouldn't have been all nice and sunny like today. It would have been cold, hard, real drudgery. They'd have been out here all weathers, picking away, and of course I've got gloves and they don't have the luxury of that. Pretty tough, grim conditions. And of course at the end of the day, after a long 10, 12 hours work, getting home to a small, damp, crowded little house, large families, not much to eat, probably just a little bit of bread and cheese. So all in all, pretty grim.
Life was really very tough for Victorian children. Victorian kids were skinny and undernourished. Many were beaten, and they were drugged to ease their pain so that they could work even longer hours. When Parliament outlawed the use of child labour in 1869, no one really seemed to take any notice.